Anelle and Jihoon, Part 46. Back in Cairo, the Cairo air was golden and dry, thick with the scent of jasmine and sun-warmed dust. Her hand in his was warm but tense. "She's going to love you," he whispered. Nihal glanced at him, unsure. "She's protective." "I know," he said with a small smile. "So am I." The taxi stopped in front of a small but well-kept apartment building, nestled between fig trees and stone arches. Nihal exhaled. "Ready?" Taiho nodded, but truthfully, he wasn't. The door opened before they could knock. "Ya binti," she whispered, pulling Nihal into her arms. Then her gaze turned to Taiho. "This is him?" she asked in Arabic. Nihal answered in the same tongue. "Yes, Mama. This is Taiho." Taiho stepped forward and bowed slightly, then offered the flowers with both hands. "It's an honor to meet you, Umi," he said in practiced Arabic. She blinked, surprised, then smiled. "Come in." The tea was poured, the biscuits laid out, and silence sat like a guest between them at first. But then Nihal's mother cleared her throat. "I must ask," she said gently, "do you believe in God?" Taiho didn't flinch. "I believe in what I see," he answered, "and in what I feel. I was not raised religious, but life teaches us in seasons. I believe there's something holy in love, in sacrifice, in family." She nodded slowly, absorbing his honesty. "I don't intend to change your daughter's faith," Taiho continued. "I will never touch what gives her strength. But I want to understand it, to learn slowly, humbly, as long as I can walk beside her." The mother leaned back, her eyes softening. "And if she struggles, will you still stay?" "I'll stay," Taiho replied, "because love isn't seasonal, and I'm not here to rent her heart. I'm here to build with her." Nihal covered her mouth with her hand, eyes glistening. Then Taiho looked at the older woman more earnestly. "Please let me take care of her, and of you. She's too proud to ask for help, but I see what she carries." There was silence. Then her mother smiled. "You're not like the others." A few minutes later, footsteps came bouncing down the hallway. Nihal's younger sisters, identical twins no older than 16, burst into the room. "Anna Amina, I'm Salma," they chorused, nearly tripping over each other to greet him. Taiho stood, bowing politely, smiling as they took turns asking him if he knew BTS or what kind of phone he used. Then curiously he asked, "What do you dream of?" They looked at each other shyly. "Medicine," one whispered. "In America," the other added quickly. Before Nihal could even speak, Taiho turned to them both and said softly, "Then we'll make it happen. Both of you." Their eyes widened. Nihal blinked. "Taiho," but he just turned toward her. "I said I wanted to walk beside you. That includes walking with everyone you love." Tears filled her eyes, but no words came. The girls screamed, hugging each other in disbelief. Their mother watched, speechless. For a moment, the modest home filled with joy so large it didn't need walls. That night, Nihal stood with Taiho on the small balcony, the Cairo skyline twinkling behind them. "You didn't have to promise that," she whispered. "I know," he replied. "But when I saw their eyes, I remembered what it's like to believe in something that feels impossible." She turned to face him, the wind curling around her scarf, the air thick with emotion. "I think I'm falling for you," she said. He leaned forward, his forehead resting gently against hers. "Then let's fall with open eyes." Their lips met, soft, honest, unhurried. Not a kiss of seduction, but of promise. In the distance, a mosque called out the evening prayer. The world continued its rhythm, but on that small balcony in Cairo, two souls stood in stillness, found and finally unafraid. In Seoul, the elevator doors opened with a soft chime, and in stepped Han Jihoon, chairman, investor, public figure, cradling a tiny bundle wrapped in cream and blue. Daejin, 6 weeks old, gasps. That's what followed him first. Gasps, stunned silence. then applause. Jihoon didn't flinch. He walked through the glossy floors of Han Group headquarters like he'd done 100 times before. Except this time, the boardroom didn't matter, and the stock updates didn't feel urgent, because he was holding the most important person in his life. Earlier that morning, Nell sat on the garden bench, sunlight brushing her shoulders as Zola leaned over her shoulder, sipping from a mug of warm rooibos. He insisted, Anelle said with a laugh. Even the elevators paused longer on every floor as employees peeked in just to see. Was that really the Han Jihoon, with a baby? When he reached his floor, his entire executive team stood in stunned silence, before erupting in soft claps and shy bows. "Congratulations, sir," his assistant whispered, eyes wide. He's perfect." Jihoon grinned, adjusting Daejin's head gently. "He gets that from his mother," he said. News traveled fast. By noon, a reporter was waiting discreetly outside the building. When Jihoon emerged for lunch with his son still strapped to him, the cameras clicked softly. Not invasive, but reverent. The headline spread before sunset. Han Jihoon, Korea's people's prince, becomes symbol of modern fatherhood. Clips of him entering the building with Daejin over his heart went viral. Young fathers across the country reposted the image with captions like, "If Jihoon can do it, so can I." Even politicians commented. Influencers shared anecdotes about the importance of being present. Back in Cairo, 5 days passed, and Taeho needed to return to Korea. He had been welcomed by Nihal's family. The Cairo sky was a pale gold that morning, already warm with promise, rustling the edge of the prayer mat where Nihal's mother knelt. Her hands were cupped before her, lips moving gently in whispered supplication. Taeho stood by the door, suitcase in hand, watching silently. This home had wrapped itself around his heart like a second skin. Nihal sat beside him on the low couch, her fingers wound tightly in his. Neither had spoken for the past 5 minutes. Words had started to betray them, growing heavier with each hour closer to goodbye. "I hate this," she whispered, staring at their hands. "I know," Taeho said softly, "but it's not the end. Just the beginning that requires distance." She turned to him, her eyes wet. "You changed everything, Taeho. I didn't know men like you existed." He smiled gently. "Anything. Don't let the world make you forget the softness you've given me." He kissed the back of her hand. Not even for a moment. Her sisters emerged from the hallway, each carrying a small gift they had wrapped in newspaper and ribbon. Simple bracelets, handmade from string and beads. "For you to remember us," Amina said, her voice cracking. "Until you bring her back," Salma added. Taeho knelt, letting them place the bracelets on his wrists. "I'm not just bringing her back," he smiled. "I'm bringing all of you to Korea. You'll see cherry blossoms, snow, and Sion. He already promised to teach you Korean words." They giggled through their tears. Then Nihal's mother stepped forward, her hands now raised over his head. "Bismillah," she said softly, her eyes closed. "Ya Allah, protect this man. Reward his heart. Let every footstep he takes return him to our door safely." Taeho bowed his head, moved beyond speech. She placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are not a guest in this house anymore. You are our son. Go and build a future. We will follow." At the airport, Nihal stood behind the glass barrier, her hands pressed to the surface as Taeho moved through the gate. He turned back one last time. Their eyes met, hers filled with sorrow and fire, his with gratitude and awe. They didn't wave. They just watched each other like a promise,